but who better than me?
Welcome to another Base Talks. And on this one, I had the somewhat honour of managing to catch up with Dev Sahni at the press conference for Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. Now, I wanted to speak with Frank Warren. I really wanted to speak with Frank Warren. And I was told, along with a couple of other, journalists or media personalities that were there, that we would get opportunities. He was going to go do some written media stuff and he was coming back. So, some of us waited around. He didn't show back up. Apparently, he had an appointment that he had to engage with. All right, cool. But in the meantime, while I was waiting, I said, I need to catch up with Dev Sahni. Now, if a lot of you remember, Dev and I had an exchange on the Undefeated podcast whereby I was saying they didn't want to give me accreditations. We managed to get that one sorted out, and I went to the York Hall show that they had back in June. At that time, Dev was very ill. He was basically hosting the event and somehow managed to get through it, but he was very ill. So I decided to forego a conversation there because we had a lot to discuss and address. However, on this occasion, that's not the case. So we got into it about a few recent topics, mainly just around this press conference and also the Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou news that had broken earlier on this week. This is a truncated version of the interview. I haven't chopped up or cut out anything that he said or I said. It's just I've taken out some bits that ultimately don't flow in the context I'm looking to present this. So if you want to see the full uncut version, you can go onto Undefeated Podcast channel tomorrow and it should be uploaded then. But yeah, for the moment, please, if you're not a subscriber, please like and subscribe over here. There is memberships as well. More members on there means more frequent members only content. So make sure you get that in as well. But here's the little bit of the chat that myself and Dev Sahni had. Enjoy.
What you got? Come on. What do you want to say? Come on.
No, I'm not gonna be too rough on you. But what I do want to know, right? This particular event, we've got Daniel Dubois, we've got Alexander Usyk, undefeated. He's basically done everything to do at cruiserweight. He's now come up to heavyweight and he's almost cleaned up. He's got one belt left, but so far that can't happen. He's had to take on his mandatory. How much of a chance, percentage-wise, do you give Daniel in this, or is it just a puncher's chance?
I give him a 50% chance. Because, look, he's different now. He's not that 19-year-old kid anymore who burst onto the scene and then in interviews was just like that shy kid. That's a man. You've just watched that press conference, shoulders broad, looking at his belts, telling Usyk what was going to happen in the fight. That's a guy that's confident. That's one box ticked. He's got a world-class jab, in my opinion. He's got world-class power, 90% knockout rate. That's not an opinion, that's fact. And he's 11 years younger than this guy. I've seen Usyk this week. I saw him in Poland, saw him today. A few more grey hairs than there used to be, right? He's getting on a little bit. He's boxed once a year for the last 4 years. Once a year. Do you know how many times Daniel Dubois boxed in that period? 11 times. So activity, youth, hunger, power. He's got all the ingredients to get it done. Let's see. Back the Brit.
Dev, all right, tell me this. What fight has Daniel Dubois had in those 11 fights over the last 4 years that have suitably prepared him for Alexander Usyk? Or are you just banking on the fact that Usyk will maybe get old overnight, so to speak?
So let me ask you this, just to ask you back. What fight could prepare him for Alexander Usyk? As we know, Usyk is a genius, right? A cruiserweight who's gone up to heavyweight, he was undisputed at cruiserweight, unified at heavyweight, a genius. There's not many like him. So who do you think he should have fought before a fight like Usyk? Could I suggest that maybe he should have fought a cruiserweight who's gone up to heavyweight, who's a southpaw, who's a little bit awkward? That sounds like a good fight to have beforehand, right? That sounds like Kevin Lerena. So I know he had a bit of trouble in that fight, but he knocked the guy out. Too big. And that's what happened in the end. And look, I think that's about as good as you can do in terms of prep for someone like Usyk, someone like Kevin Lerena. That would be my view on that. You take someone who you think you're going to beat, but will also give you a bit of a test. Kevin Lerena was that.
Okay, so pivoting from that just a moment, there was a lot spoken about previously regarding Alexander Usyk being like, you know, a clear B-side to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is the A-side. He does make the money. We kind of all understand that. But Frank did speak a lot previously about sort of Usyk, you know, not really, you know, being the draw, so to speak. With that being said, how come this fight is on TNT Sports box office as opposed to just regular TNT? If the aim would be to quote unquote boost his profile, or if he doesn't have a profile in the UK as was mentioned previously?
Of course, it's going to be box office. It's a unified heavyweight world title fight with a Brit, a young, hungry Brit, looking to change his life. It's on at a UK time. It's not on like early in the morning or anything like that. Of course it's going to be pay-per-view. TNT Sports would have paid a lot of money to acquire the rights to get this fight. They need to make that money back. That doesn't just happen by sticking it on free-to-air. You've got to stick it on pay-per-view so you get your money back. Hopefully you make a few quid as well. It's just business.
That being said, this is the first fight where he has not been the favourite for the fight. He is technically the underdog. So do you think the fact that he has almost no pressure on him, with no one really believing that this is his moment or he can actually do it, do you think that will actually help him in the fight, or will that maybe make him more nervous to try and deliver on the night, in your opinion?
I think it's definitely going to help him. Like, I was literally talking to him about this, did a little sit down, and I asked like if the pressure was getting too much before, you know, where he did have the weight of the world on his shoulders, where people were saying, like, waxing lyrical about how far he was going to go, how he was the next this, the next that. And he said, yeah, probably there was a bit of pressure there. Maybe he did feel it at times, but heading into this, as you said, no one, a few people, most people are not expecting him to win this fight, right? Heading into enemy ground, he will be booed to the rafters. I love it. I hope I'm walking right behind him, and I don't think he's going to feel that pressure at all. I think it's a good place to be. It's nothing to lose. You lose this fight to Alexander Usyk, hey, it was too soon, you lost to a genius, maybe better luck next time. You're still young, you're only 25. You win, you rock the whole heavyweight world, and I hope he does it.
Fair enough. Okay, last question. We're going to just address the Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou special event that was taking place in Saudi Arabia. Now, previously, Frank Warren did actually say on TalkSport and multiple other channels that the heavyweight division is being stagnated, primarily by Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk, basically wait until the end of the year to fight in Saudi and get that big Saudi bag. So it's a bit ironic at this moment that the only person who actually is waited until quote-unquote the end of the year and fighting in Saudi is Tyson Fury. With that being said, Tyson hasn't been active this year. We know there's reasons. He couldn't get the Usyk fight over the line for whatever reason. The Anthony Joshua fight, Anthony Joshua he declined it. We know that. But why is he fighting 0-0 novice boxer who is obviously from an MMA background when there are other challengers within the WBC rankings that he could have taken a voluntary against and not basically stagnated the WBC heavyweight title for the whole of 2023? What's the mindset behind that?
So the status of the WBC heavyweight title and what they do with their belt is the decision of the WBC. As far as I'm aware, they ordered a final eliminator between Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz, which they haven't figured out yet. So Tyson hasn't got a mandatory. When he has a mandatory, he fights his mandatory. He boxed Dillian Whyte, who was his last mandatory. So he's not swerving a mandatory for this fight to happen. And about the Saudi thing, it's not like Saudi's like a bad thing. Oh, they're waiting for Saudi. It was more, Usyk didn't fight Tyson Fury at Wembley because he would make significantly less money than he would in Saudi. He then went on to sign for Skills Challenge Promotions as well. That was the thinking behind that. Saudi just happens to be putting up the bag for this fight, and it sounds like a great new relationship has formed between Queensberry and these guys as well. So why is Tyson fighting Francis Ngannou instead of someone in the WBC top 15? Because he's a megastar, and megastars get mega offers. He's had a mega offer where he can make a lot of money in a fight that would generate huge interest. Why wouldn't you do it? If you're Tyson Fury, why would you not do that? Why would you do that? Why would you, instead of doing that fight, go and fight someone in rank number 14 or 15 or something like that? If you've got this offer in front of you, go and do it. And it's entertainment. They're prize fighters, they're entertainers. There's no bigger entertainer than Tyson Fury, and it'll be a big event, and you'll watch it.
Well, I don't want to say... No, I'm going to be honest with you, Dev. I actually won't. I still haven't watched Fury Chisora 3 because I didn't think that was appropriate at that time. But we accepted it just because we was told Usyk was next.
Everyone thought Usyk was next. Do you think he'd be in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Do you think he'd be up on the apron if we didn't all think it was next? It was meant to be next. Then the date moved, and then the date it moved from February to April, and then it was actually we can't do it this year, and so we're going to do it at the end of the year in Saudi. That's why all parties started exploring Wembley Stadium for April, and then it's on their mind you can make a lot more money to do it in Saudi, and then the fight doesn't happen. It is what it is, but all intentions were February for it to be Usyk. Why would we have Usyk even there if there was like intention to duck him or all these crazy things people say? There's the man himself.
With the last part of that, so I understand it from a marketing perspective, and I understand he's making the bag. That's a brilliant move for him. But that being said, the fact that you are still a champion, should that not really come with more responsibility, self-responsibility? Forget the mandatory, forget the sanctioning body, but they have rankings. You could fight someone within those rankings because we've been led to believe that Tyson Fury he's the megastar, he is the A-side, he is, the cash cow of the division. So you can then fight anyone and make money. So why not fight a boxer to keep yourself active for a boxer that you should be fighting moving forward?
You can fight anyone and make money, right? You said that. Tyson's a heavy A-side, you can fight anyone and make money. You make more money against Francis Ngannou. He's the third biggest fight out there for Tyson Fury. Go and get your money. That's all I'm saying. It's there for him, and it's a big event. And I know you say you're not going to watch it. You'll get, I think you'll be swept up in it. But maybe we'll see in fight week.
So as you can see, it got a bit interesting there. Now again, there's some bits you haven't seen. So if you want to see the rest of it uncut, please make sure you tune into the Undefeated podcast channel tomorrow. Now I've got to give ratings and maximum respect to Dev. He didn't duck any questions. He didn't say, I can't talk about that. He gave his opinions, some of which I still believe are a bit of a BS. But that being said, there's certain language that he used in this interview, which obviously lets you know that in some instances, he's just quote unquote waving the Queensberry flag and, just showing loyalty to his employer, which is totally fine. I mean, look, that's what you do, right? When you're on a team, like, you go all out for the team, you back your team until such a time as you're not with the team, and then it's on to the next and you do the exact same thing. So big ups and maximum respect to Dev for taking the time to get a little bit of a grilling and a little bit of an intense dialogue with myself. But yeah, that's that one. Thank you very much for watching. There will be other content coming up shortly, probably today. But thanks very much for that. I hope you enjoyed. Again, like and subscribe. And that's another Basis Talks closed.